Okay. So I get to turn this off. There we go. So I want to welcome you to Thera-Fitness. For those of you who've been here before, thank you for coming back and welcome. For those of you who are new to the Thera-Fitness class, first thing you need to know is that everything we do here is in slow motion. This is not an aerobics class. It's not a strength and conditioning class. What I do recommend, though, is that you find ways to get that type of fitness into your life, into your fitness and exercise routines. What I'm hoping to provide is a way for you to undertake other exercise programs as well as your daily life and be able to function more safely, more efficiently by learning what some of you already know is my ABC system, which is alignment, breathing, and centering. So we're going to begin sitting at the edge of your chair. And I do want to encourage you to be in as sturdy, a straight back chair as you can find. I had a wonderful friend join us last week who was on rolling chairs. Definitely not a good idea. Provides a kind of mobility we're not looking for right now. So hopefully you've got a sturdy, straight back chair. If it has armrests, I'm hoping that I can get you to the point where you don't need the armrest to come to standing. So we're going to start with A of the ABCs. And the way we're going to do it is by thinking of lengthening and opening. So I want you to just start getting into your body and just think about lengthening your spine. Also notice that your chin kind of tucks as you lengthen your spine. So that's lengthen. And then I've also said open. And when I say open, what I'd like you to think about is having your neck and shoulders release and let your shoulders drop down and back. So you're lengthening your spine, thinking tall, right? Just pressing yourself up as tall as you can. And at the same time, opening, releasing unnecessary tension around your neck and shoulders. I'm sure many of you remember the old days when we were taught for good posture, you needed chin in, chest out, and all those really unnatural things. You never got a nice, easy, tall, relaxed posture. Also notice, as you are thinking of lengthening and opening, actually what I'd like you to do, and I'm turning profile just so you can see me, but you can stay seated, facing straight ahead. As you are thinking of lengthening and opening, shoulders dropping down and back, I'd like you to also feel yourself pressing down with your feet as if you were trying to push them down, maybe through wet cement or whatever image works for you to get that pressing down feeling. And at the same time that you're doing that pressing down, I want you to notice or imagine trying to get that back of your head up towards the ceiling. So you're doing these things simultaneously. And what you hopefully feel is the muscles in your thigh, possibly the buttock, abdomen, back, right up through the neck. Feel those muscles toning. These are your posture muscles. And these are the muscles that you want to keep strong in order to be able to develop or maintain that good postural alignment. You'll notice that I've been talking through this whole pressing down and lifting up, this lengthening, opening, pressing. And I want you to start becoming aware of your breathing. So even as we are pressing and lifting and releasing, start simultaneously becoming conscious of your breathing. So I'm going to take a moment just to encourage you to develop an increasing consciousness or awareness of your breathing. Yes, it's something that we do automatically without thinking. However, breathing is also something that we can exert some control over. If we wanted to, we could breathe fast, panting when you're running, and we can also slow our breathing down, which is what I'm going to be encouraging you to do during this class. So in case you've been listening to me and you found yourself losing that postural correctness, let's go back to alignment, lengthen, open. And let's do that conscious breathing in through the nose and a slow, prolonged exhalation through the nose, through pursed lips, or making a hissing sound. Right now, I just want you to think about breathing in, and as you exhale, making your exhalation as slow and as long as you can. So as I'm talking, I would like you to continue that sense of lengthening, opening, conscious breathing. Also be aware that when you breathe in through the nose, what you'd like to feel happening is your midsection expanding. So again, just become conscious of the breathing. Inhale through the nose.
Anything that's simple looking.
Place your hand.
Like what we got in there.
Okay, I need to, excuse me, I need to ask whoever's got, please mute,
What's out there? I
Please.
didn't want that because
please mute your computers if you can. Please mute
I'm
your,
not going to.
okay, if you can hear me, please mute your computer. Okay, sorry about that. So, align, lengthen, open, shoulders down and back, breathing in through the nose, letting your midsection expand. And what's happening when you let that midsection expand during inhalation is that the diaphragm, which is your main muscle of breathing, when the diaphragm goes from its usual domed position, curved up under your ribs, what it does is it contracts, it flattens, and it pushes down on the contents in the abdomen. Another nice image for helping you get that diaphragmatic breathing is to think of balloon breathing. So as you breathe in through the nose, see if you can fill an imaginary balloon down in your midsection, and then that nice, slow, prolonged exhalation. I'm going to ask you to keep focusing on the posture and the breathing, and I want to explain to you why we exaggerate or we prolong the exhalation portion of breathing. If you consider, if you've ever seen a picture of lungs, what you need to be aware of is that most of us, when we breathe, we don't fully empty the lungs of stale air that tends to gather in the corners. I think of the analogy of dust bunnies for those of us who don't often get into the corners of our closets to dust. By doing the diaphragmatic breath in and the slow, prolonged exhalation, what you're doing is several things. One is you're clearing your lungs of this stale air, these dust bunnies that sit in the corner of the closet. By getting rid of that stale air that sits in the corners of your lungs, what you're now doing is making space for oxygenated air, which is the air that gives us life and energy. So you've wrung out the lungs with that nice, slow, prolonged exhalation. And when you breathe in through the nose, the lungs now there's more lung space to take in that oxygenated air. And the last thing that I want to say about why I like you to focus on the exhalation portion of your breathing, the breathing out portion, is because it's also a great stress reducer. And I doubt that there are many of us here that don't experience stress at some point in our day or in our lives. So what you want to be able to do is use your conscious breathing to breathe out, to blow away that stale air, make room for oxygenated air, blow away negative thoughts, if you will, stressful thoughts, breathe in positive thoughts. So there are many different mind-body approaches that will have you blow away negative, bring in positive with your breathing. The last thing I want to say about helping you focus on prolonged exhalations is become aware of how speaking is actually exhalation. It's air coming out through the vocal cords. Another beautiful way to increase or to decrease stress and to increase your breathing capacity could be to slow your speaking down and see if you can get more words out on a sentence or during a sentence. So everything I just said was with one exhalation. So that's a way to keep myself from doing something like, and then you heard, and then I did that, and you'll find people who are under stress or just excited. That's how all of us tend to speak, when there's some kind of high energy going on. This is a way to manage that excess energy that could ultimately negatively affect our health and well-being. Okay, so I didn't mention C. C is for centering, and I'll just briefly say that is our mind and our body working together. How often has any one of us had an accident or an injury because our mind is one place, but our body is doing something else? So centering becomes just taking that moment before you do something, as you do something, and just focus on that little thing, one thing at a time. And a wonderful 3 words to remember are start, change, stop. You start an activity, I don't care if it's washing the dishes, answering the phone, working with us in Thera-Fitness. You start the activity, you do whatever the activity is, and then at some point you declare the activity complete, you've done it, on to the next one. You will find yourself able to manage many more activities safely and efficiently if you concentrate or center on each one of those activities one at a time, as much as possible. Okay, so let's take a moment and align, breathe, take your arms, and let's just reach them up and float them down. And again, keep the shoulder girdles down, but the arms go up and they float down. Keeping that postural alignment, float up and float down. I'm going to give you mirror image. So your right arm up, reach towards the ceiling, nice lengthened spine, nice conscious breathing going on. Gently reach towards your left, reaching up trying to scrape your fingers across the ceiling, or if you imagine yourself in a doorway, in the door frame, reaching to the upper corner of the door frame. And notice that I'm not looking up. I'm keeping my head in alignment with my spine. Back to the center, down. And let's do that again. We'll do 3 of these. Reaching up, trying to touch the ceiling, keep that nice lengthened spine, neck is released. Reach across towards your left, the upper corner of the door frame, back to the center, and down. Nice breath. One more time. Reaching up, reaching towards your left, up and over to the left corner of the door frame. Got to have a good imagination for this. And back to the center, release down. Let's do 3 or 4 shoulder rolls, either way, your choice. And then the other way to loosen things up in there. You're keeping that nice lengthened posture this whole time, right? Okay, here we go. With your left hand, reach up towards the ceiling. And again, only as high as you can go. Not everybody's going to have full range of motion. So you just do it, you can. Never cause yourself pain. You may feel a stretching sensation, but please don't give yourselves pain. All right, reach across to your right side. Am I right? Yes. Right side. Picture yourself reaching for the corner of the door frame. Back to the center. And down. And a breath. And left hand up again. Reach across towards your right side, towards that corner of that door frame. Nice lengthened spine. Back to the center and down. And one more time, reach up with that left hand. Reach across towards your right to the right corner of the door frame so you get that nice lengthening. And back to the center and down. Let's do those shoulder rolls again. 3 or 4 times one way. And 3 or 4 times the other way. All right. We're going to, we didn't do the pelvic rock, which is always something that I do. So let's make sure we get that in. I'm going to give you profile. And for those of you who've done this with me before, we do our ABCs. We align, conscious breathing. We center on what we're going to do. And this is your pelvis. You're going to think about tipping it forward. So there are different ways you might think about getting your pelvis tipped like this. One is you might think of sticking your belly button out. Notice that I'm trying to keep my spine vertical. It's just the pelvis that has tipped. Now I'm going to bring the belly button back. And let's push it back a little bit more past the center. Return to the center. Align, breathe, center. Let's tip forward again. Push that belly button forward. You'll notice that your hips are kind of jutting back as you do this. We're not rocking the trunk forward and back. We're keeping the trunk as vertical as possible. So belly button forward. Might think of the chest coming forward too. And rock it back. You'll find yourself sitting on the meat of the buttocks. All right, back to the center. Align, breathe, center. Tip the pelvis forward. Push the belly button and the chest forward. And press it back. And return to the center position. All right, now let's have you, how I want to do this. All right, well, have you reach back with your right hand, reach the back of your chair. Let's get that alignment, breathing, centering always. And now put your left hand on your right knee, keeping that nice lengthened posture. Slow motion, turn towards your right only, as far as you can, comfortably. Keeping that lengthened spine, chin stays tucked, all right? You don't want to be crinking or kinking your neck. Keep the chin tucked, nice lengthened feeling in the back of your spine. We're going to stretch a little bit by taking a breath in through the nose. As we exhale, we're going to see if we can turn a little bit further. You may or may not, don't force it. Take a breath in through the nose again. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. Remember, you're keeping that nice lengthened spine. And one more time in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further and stay here. Let your eyes look to your right. Keep your head turned to your right, but let your eyes look to the left. Let your eyes look up. Let your eyes look down. Make a circle with your eyes in one direction, as big a circle as you can. And then in the other direction. Let your eyes return to a nice neutral position. Release with your left hand. Release with your right hand. Return to the center. Let's do a couple of pelvic tilts, or at least one pelvic tilt. So press the pelvis forward, or press the belly button forward, belly button and chest forward. And notice your pelvis is tipping forward. Let it tip to neutral. Do the other side. So your left hand reaches behind you. Right hand onto your left knee. Nice lengthened posture, ABC. Turn as far as you can comfortably, keeping that chin tucked, lengthened spine. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. In through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. One more time in through the nose. See if you can exhale and go a little further. Stay here when you get to the end. Let your eyes look to your left. Keeping your head turned to your left, let your eyes gaze to the right. Let your eyes look up. Let them look down. Make a circle in either direction, your eyes. And after you've gone in one direction, let them go in the other direction. Get them back to a nice central position. Release with your right hand. Release with your left. Return to center. Let's do a pelvic tilt. So belly button forward. Give your profile again. Belly button forward. The back arches, chest lifts, shoulders down and back. And tuck that pelvis under. And let's return to neutral. Okay, let's get a nice wide stance. Okay, feet are flat on the floor. Make sure that your knees go over your toes. So let's say you can turn your toes out really far, but like in my case, my knees are still here, my toes are out there. So you don't want to turn your legs out any further than their ability to be over the toes. We're going to align, shoulders down and back, breathe, and slow motion, keeping that nice flat back. I'm going to give you profile. We're going to just bend down as far as we can comfortably. It's going to be different for everyone. What we don't want to do is reaching down like this. Those of us with any degree of osteoporosis, we want to avoid anything that crunches, especially the upper part of the spine. So we want that nice lengthened spine. right, just breathing, exhale. All right, so you've gone as far as you can go. Breathe in through the nose. And as you exhale, see if you can lower the abdomen and the chest a little closer to the ground. Keeping so your eyes are gazing straight down, staying in line with your trunk. Breathe in again. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. And one more time in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. Right, slowly, starting from the pelvis, the buttock area, curl it under, tuck it under, and bring yourself up to a nice, straight, lengthened sitting posture. Again, shoulders go down and back. The tendency is going to be to have the shoulders kind of scrunch up. You always want to consciously release them down and back. I like the image of a silk blouse hanging on a hanger. It just kind of drapes there. While we're doing these things, mostly the shoulders are draped down and back. Okay, they're not being tensed up. Okay, so while we're here, let's do another exercise that helps us get that good postural alignment. So you align, you breathe, you center, and I'd like you to imagine yourself looking at your eyes in a mirror. And what you want to do now is keep your spine, keep your trunk vertical. Let's see if you can press your face towards the mirror. And then let it slide back. You can maybe imagine that your chin is sliding on a shelf. Let it slide back. And what you may be feeling, what I'd like you to feel, is a lengthening, right? In the back of your head and neck, nice lengthened position. You'd also notice if I had the mask off, that this tucks the chin or chins, depending on how old you are. I have more than one. And that's funny, you could be laughing. Okay, so here we go again. Align, breathe, center. Looking at your eyes in the mirror. Slowly press your face towards the mirror. It's not going to be a big move. Slowly let it slide back. Tuck those chins and get that lengthened feeling in the back of your head and neck. We're going to do this one more time. Align, breathe, center. Look at your eyes in the mirror. Press the face forward towards the mirror. And slowly slide the head, or you can think of the chin, back on the shelf. And this is also called a turtle exercise. That's one of the more common names for it. So what you should be, what I'm hoping you're feeling by doing this chin retraction, we call it retraction, is how your whole spine wants to lengthen. And remember, that's one of our goals with Thera-Fitness is to get our posture straighter, because most of us, as we age, there is a tendency for posture to round. Maybe we had desk jobs or jobs where we've had to bend over a lot. And so, and just poor habits, enjoying slouching in our recliners. What these exercises are designed to do is help you regain or gain some of the flexibility you may have lost and some of the conditioning of the muscles that support your trunk. So let's come to standing, and then we'll do some foot exercises because we've been sitting for a while. So I'm going to give you profile again. Align, breathe, center. If you have one leg that's stronger than the other, let it be a little bit behind you. Keeping this nice lengthened posture, I'd like you to just bend forward. Now, if you need support to come to standing, do what you have to do so you can get yourself to a nice, tall, vertical position. Okay, and for sitting, you want to make sure at least one leg is touching whatever chair you're going to sit on. Watch me. The way you want to start your sitting is by pressing the hips back. So you're starting to bring your center of gravity right over your base of support. I know we haven't used this expression before. And ideally, you're going to be able to lower yourself onto a chair in slow motion. I suspect many of you can't do that yet. It's okay. So we're going to come to standing again. I'm going to change legs. ABC. That's the shortcut, because by now you know ABC means just a line, breathe, center. ABC. Slow motion. Tipping forward. If you need support, if putting a little pressure on your knees and your hips will help you, that's fine. The other thing I want to mention is when you do get to standing, get your hands into your waist any way you can. Now, some of you with arthritis, you may have to position your hands in a way that's comfortable. But what I'd like you to do is just press your hips forward. Notice I'm not looking up. I never want to be causing a kink in the neck or the cervical spine. So now we need to strengthen these sit and stand muscles. So again, if you have one leg that's stronger than the other, let that leg be the one that's a little bit behind you. And in slow motion, press those hips back and start sitting, but don't sit. In order to strengthen the sit-stand muscles, you need to be able to hold a position. So you may find, if these muscles are weak, that you can't hold beyond here, and your tendency is going to be to flop. Please don't flop. Okay. But go as far as you can and just see if you can stay there. If you find the muscles shaking, getting sore, weak, press back on the knees, press the hips forward. You will find if you do this throughout the day, because I'm pretty sure most of you have to sit and stand several times during the day, you can turn the sitting and standing activity that you have to do anyway, but now you add some consciousness to it and you turn it into a strengthening exercise. So here we go. Again, you're just starting from a standing position and you slowly press the hips back. You'll notice I'm trying to keep that spinal alignment, lowering myself. Now, I've got pretty good control, but you may find that you can only go just so far before you feel the need to come to standing, or you're going to flop. Eventually, your goal is to be able to control your ability to sit all the way down. There's actually research that has shown that our ability to sit and stand without holding on actually relates to how well many of us are going to age. I wish it would be just that simple, right? Doesn't get rid of wrinkles for those of you who are worried about that. All right, let's do the foot and ankle, because this is really important and valuable for those of us who are trying to maintain or develop better balance. You need the strength and flexibility in your feet. So hopefully you're wearing, well, when you're home alone, if you're doing this home alone, doing this in stocking feet on a carpet is really a nice way to get what we might call proprioceptive feedback, stimulation of the nerves on the soles of your feet, which help you with balance. So align breathe, center. And we're just going to go up on the toes. And we're going to roll the feet down. So you're on the outside of one foot, on the inside of the other. But you're trying not to let your knees twist. You're trying to isolate the movement to your feet and ankles. Come back up onto your toes again. And slowly roll towards the other side of your feet. Now, I have pretty good range of motion and flexibility. Many of you may not at this point. It's okay. You're looking to develop whatever strength and flexibility your body still allows you to do. I mean, so don't worry about it. Don't look at anybody else. Just get into your own body. Okay, here I go again. ABC, back up on the toes. Roll to the outside of one foot, the inside of the other. Roll up onto the toes again. Down to the other side of the feet. We're going to do this another couple of times. Up onto the toes. I also call this the over the hill exercise. If you imagine a hill behind your heel, you're kind of just rolling over it. So now you're down on the other side of your feet. And up to the toes. And last time we'll drop down. In my case, it's on the left side. And up. All right, I'm kind of doing this in different order than I've done before, but that's okay. All right, line, breathe, center. Your right foot straight out in front of you. Really work on that posture, shoulders down and back, chin is tucked, back of your head is lengthened. Let's point the toes down and flex them up. And you'll notice I'm not doing this fast because it takes time for the muscles that are working to flex your foot up. It takes time for them to contract and develop the strength that they need to do the movement. And the time is also necessary to stretch the muscles that we're trying to stretch. Ideally, you're feeling a stretch in the back of your knee and your calf. All right, point down again. And again, this whole time, you're keeping that nice postural alignment and you're breathing. I'm just really feeling wonderful, tired, but wonderful. And one more time, point down and up. And without rock and rolling the whole leg, see if you can just make big circles with your foot and ankle. A nice image is to imagine that you've got a paintbrush at the tip of your toe, and you are trying to paint the biggest circle possible with your foot and ankle. So after you've done about 3 or 4 in one direction, we can go in the other direction. Again, the slower you go and the more conscious you are of the movement you're doing, the more control you will have of the movement, and ultimately, the better result you will have. All right. Now, keep that posture. Give me some exaggerated lengthening. Slow motion. Let's have you bring the leg up and back to your starting position. All right, we can do a quick pelvic rock. So just tip the pelvis forward so your stomach and chest comes forward and rock it back. Now your left leg. I forgot to say ABC first. You always want to start ABC. And we're going to point down and flex up. Point down, flex up. Did I happen to mention this is a slow motion class? Point down, flex up. And I think we can do ankle circles at this point. So it's either direction. And please really focus on making that foot and ankle make the biggest circle you can possibly make. So it's not how fast you whip the foot and ankle around, it's how, shall I say, accurately. And again, you're trying to keep the leg straight and just have the movement be at the foot and ankle. Okay. Line, breathe, center, slow motion. Let's bring the leg back. Okay, and we'll do another pelvic tilt. Okay, profile. So we're going to press the pelvis forward, belly button and chest go forward, and rock the pelvis back. Turn to neutral. And let's come to standing again. So line, breathe, center. Slow motion if you can. Holding on if you need to. But let's have you come to standing. When you get to your standing position, let's press those hips forward, keeping the head forward. Good. Okay, let's stand with a wider stance. So this is going to be more squatting, which is what we need for sitting and standing. But it's also, let me back up. The squatting move that you need for sitting and standing is the same move that we need for picking things up from the ground. So let's do a straight squat. I'm going to give you profile. And the way you're going to do this, just like when you went to sit, you're going to push those hips back. Notice how the spine stays straight and aligned. And you're going to press the hips forward, press the knees back. Let's do that again. Start with the pelvis, push for the hips, pressing them back. And pressing the hips forward. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to squat again, pressing the hips back. But now you're going to stay here and you're going to just slide your hips to your right, back to the center, slide the hips to your left, back to the center. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to suggest that you keep trying to do this. Keep that back, keep the hips thrust back as much as you can. If you think of football players in a huddle, you'll notice those hips are way back. I'm thinking of an image that might help you with this move. If you imagine that you're using your hips to wipe off or wipe a shelf that's behind you, that will keep you from doing what I call the hokey pokey. So we're not pressing the hips out to the side like that. Not that that's not a nice exercise, but it's not what we're doing. So you want to keep the verticality, and you just want to be trying to shift your weight. If you feel your thigh muscles getting tired, sure sign. It's a sure sign that we need to be strengthening them. Head stays forward and press the hips. Okay, so let's have you stand using the back of your chair. And we'll just do a little more stretching of the legs. So, our ABCs. Whichever leg is easier for you to do first, I'd like you to step back as far as you can comfortably. And notice that both feet are flat on the floor. And we're just going to bend the front knee and see if we can increase or do a stretch of the calf muscle. And if you want to test your balance, you can just see if you can do this.
No, not today.
You can try holding on one hand, no hands. So it's a good way not only to do the stretching, also stretching across the hip flexor, but to do a little bit of balance work. Okay, slow motion. Think of lengthening, pulling up. Slowly return the leg to the starting position. Line breathe center. Let's step back with the other leg. You want to make sure that you have your feet flat on the floor. You can just bend the front leg to increase the stretch across your calf. Just stay there, work on continuing to lengthen, continuing to be conscious of your breathing, long exhalations. If you're safe and you feel like testing your balance a little bit, you can do that. And then slow motion, return to standing. While we're standing, let's do a little balance work. If you need your chair, fine. All we're going to do, I'm going to give you a profile again. All we're going to do after we do our ABCs is just see if we can incline our body towards our toes. Okay, so you're always working on that lengthening of the trunk, the relaxation of the neck and shoulders, chin tucked, and yet you're letting your weight shift over towards your toes, just as far as you can without losing your balance. Return to your starting position. Now let's see if you can shift that weight towards your heels. It's not going to be a big move. It's just starting to develop your increased sense of knowing where your body is on your feet. And this is ultimately going to help you with balance. Back to the center. Step forward towards the toes. Feel your toes curling against the floor, right? Back to your center. And one more time, towards your heels. Like I said, it's not a big movement. You got a lot to be thinking about because you're still trying to maintain that lengthening, the releasing, chin tuck, a lot going on, which is why you really have to stay tuned into your body. Back to the center. Okay, I'm going to turn around. We're going to line breathe center. We're going to shift the weight, staying tall. In fact, a nice image. I guess I should finish one sentence at a time. We're going to shift the weight onto your right side, keeping your feet flat on the floor, staying as tall as you can. And maybe imagining having something like a pencil or something sticking out of the back of your head. So you're trying to draw a straight line across the ceiling. It's not going to be a big line, but having that sense of trying to draw something across the ceiling may help you keep that nice lengthened position. Back to the center. Over to your left side, staying tall. Keep that pencil marking or pen or crayon, whatever you want. Marking across the ceiling tiles. Keep those feet flat on the floor. Back to the center. We're going to go to your right again. ABC. Shoulders down and back, chin tucked, back of the head lifted. Over towards the right sides of your feet, although you want to keep them flat on the floor. Take your time. By the way, this is also a wonderful exercise to do in a doorway, because what's nice about using the doorway is you've got the door frame to hold on to without, pushing yourself into a position that knocks you out of alignment. So the doorway allows you to keep that alignment at the same time that you're working your balance. So we go back to the center. Breathe and let's shift over to your left side. So it's not a big move, but I can tell you from personal experience that these subtle moves, becoming more grounded and more developing more proprioceptive awareness and flexibility in our feet is going to help with balance. All right, next thing we're going to do is going to challenge our balance a little more. So you may want slightly wider stance. This comes, as did the other exercise, this comes from Tai Chi, a form of Tai Chi. I want you to imagine that you have a ball, and also let your knees be soft. I just realized mine were kind of pressed back, so just let them be soft. You've got a ball. I'd like you to slowly turn the ball up and over your right shoulder. Good. Keeping those feet flat on the floor. All right. And just take a moment to feel how your pelvis has rotated and where your weight is on your feet. All right, slowly return to the center, bring the ball to the center. I like to go hallelujah at this point. So raise the ball up and go hallelujah. And down. And let's turn the ball up and over your left side, just as far as you can, comfortably keeping that nice tall alignment. Chin is tucked. And see if you can sense how your pelvis has rotated. Feel where your weight is on your feet. Just take a moment to really do what you might call a type of body scan. Just kind of feel what's going on. Slowly return to the center. We can go hallelujah again. Hallelujah. And down. Okay, let's take a few moments to talk about walking. And in fact, I have my couple of people here. So I'd like you to just start walking. I'm going to keep talking, which I always do. And what I'd like you to become aware of as you walk is, first of all, of course, your posture. Align, breathe, center, always, shoulders down and back, chin is tucked, back of your head is lifted. And become aware of walking with a heel-toe action. A lot of people, for one reason or another, sometimes it's age, sometimes fear of falling, all kinds of things. Sometimes people stop using that normal, that natural heel-toe action, and they walk kind of flat-footed with little steps. So the first thing I'd like you to be aware of is walking heel to toe. And just let your, just think tall, but at the same time, you're letting the shoulders, arms and shoulders just swing naturally. So here you are becoming more conscious of the heel-toe action, of your nice tall posture. Another image that I find helpful for maintaining that good postural alignment is every time you take a step, imagine yourself getting taller with each step. So instead of kind of falling down as you step or kind of collapsing into it, step lift, step lift. The other thing to work on, especially those of you who have allowed your walking, the space between your legs, I've just lost the term, who've lost that nice long stride, confident stride, I'd like you to be thinking about lengthening your stride as you walk. Now, if you use some type of assistive device, you can still, first of all, make sure that it's adjusted at a height that keeps you from being forced to bend over. So we want to be able to stand straight with a walker or a cane or whatever you might use. And then you can still practice getting taller with each step. What was the other thing I wanted to mention? Yeah, doing things, do the stepping, increasing your step in slow motion. That's going to help develop balance. Walking, there are all kinds of walking exercises, but since I can't see you, I don't want to do anything that might put you at risk for a fall. But if you have someone with you, we do things called grading, where you walk one foot front, one at back. We're not going to do that now. Walking backwards, walking in circles, walking and turning your head one way and then the other. So these are all different ways that you can improve or have your walking be as youthful as possible. Another wonderful strategy for helping us with walking is a form of self-talk. So I worked with a lot of people with fear of falling who developed this kind of crunched over posture. And I make them say out loud, I am tall, strong, and confident. And very often they'll say to me, but I'm short and I'm not confident, you know, or all kinds of things. I said, it doesn't matter what your physical self thinks it is. But if you just say to yourself, out loud or to yourself, I am tall, strong, and confident, I suggest that you try it and see what a difference it can make. So that's self-talk. And anytime you hear that little voice say, but I can't, tell them you've got two forbidden words. One is can't and one is should. So don't let anybody tell you you can't do something, including you telling yourself you can't do something, and don't let anybody should on you, okay? You shouldn't do that. So I hope this has been useful. I know we're about to end, so I want to thank you. I'd love to hear from you and know if you have any questions, if this has been helpful, if there are some other things you'd like me to address in future Thera-Fitness classes. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and thank you for joining us today. All right, bye-bye.